Welcome back to the Popcorn in the Face podcast. Today's episode is our second Val's a Hater episode. And as a friendly reminder, in these Val's a Hater episodes, we force our co-host Val to watch and respond to movies and franchises she has refused to watch or watched once and tried to strongly forget about. I am today's host, Matt Iorio, and I'm joined as usual by my co-hosts Val McDonald and Connor Busella. So for our second Val's a Hater episode, we will be discussing the second Harry Potter film, which is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was released on November 15th, 2002, as before, based on the best-selling novel series by author J.K. Rowling. And like the first, this was directed by Chris Columbus and stars Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint. And in this one, in our second adventure back to Hogwarts, we see a couple big new key players enter the fold in the forms of Kenneth Branagh, who plays Professor Gilderoy Lockhart, and also Jason Isaacs, who plays Lucius Malfoy. So, as we did in our first Val's a Hater episode, Connor and I will kind of kick things off with our, relation with this movie, kind of some early thoughts and feelings as we are the Harry Potter fans out of the three of us, and then we'll dive into kind of what Val thought on this rewatch for her. So, Connor, what is your relationship with the second one? I know we've talked about the first one already. What is your relationship with the Chamber of Secrets?
So I think I might have misspoke when we did Sorcerer's Stone, and I think I said that was my favorite one. This is Chamber of Secrets is my favorite of the Harry Potters, or at least it was when I was younger and watching these for the first time. This is probably the one that I've seen the most times. I really liked the spiders and the snakes of this one, and the little bit of advancement. It was a little more mature of a story compared to the first one. I really, really like this one. I think the child actors bring it a little more in this one than they do in the first. And there's just a lot of things that I think they got the rhythm from the first one, and they just were able to kind of execute a little cleaner in a lot of different areas for this one.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like the kids definitely, they're a year or two into their careers. They have a movie under their belt. Their stuff's kind of been picked up a little bit. Interesting to hear that this was your favorite, because I mean, 1 and 2 feel so attached at the hip for me, being the first two being made by Chris Columbus. So there's a lot of similarities there. But I feel like I've heard a lot where there's a lot of people that kind of skip over to. I know with my wife Alyssa, she tends to skip Chamber of Secrets on a rewatch, which is I very much enjoy this movie. The first two will always be super special to me because they're done by Chris Columbus, and I think of just I was in the second grade and the third grade when the first two came out. So I am similar there with you. This is one of my favorites. I rewatched a lot, but interesting to hear this is your favorite though. I feel like I don't hear that too often.
Yeah, I think this was the one that I had the video game for. This was the one that I had Lego sets for.
Yes.
This was one that was pretty involved in my childhood.
True. I remember in the third grade for my 9th birthday getting a toy version of the Godric Gryffindor sword. So just this soft plastic sword that had like a button that would make like sword swinging, like clashing sounds, and you do it. I still have it. I've purposely kept it all these years to just hold on to it, but give it to my kids one day. And it's stored in a bin. I didn't want to dig it out, but I did pull this out. I know we are in the first pod with Harry Potter, we talked about just like all the replica like stuff that my family had that you guys saw growing up. So I got this one, I think like later elementary school. And then what I'm about to pull on camera for those who might be watching on YouTube, or if this is a clip that might end up on our socials. My brother and his friend, when they were probably late elementary school, broke my first version of this. And then in COVID, years later, to make it up, my brother Jeffrey brought me a brand new version of this. It is the Lucius Malfoy cane that he uses in the movie.
Wow.
And it's the wand.
Wow.
I appreciate your cool. Very kind wow. It's not that impressive.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. So cool, that is Matthew.
Cool. Oh, get out of here. Yeah, so obviously love this movie. Near and dear to the Iorio family heart. But Val, so I know you've seen this movie before. It's been a long time. But before we go into your rewatch this time around, what were some, initial thoughts and, feelings you might have had going into it?
So before I watched this one, I had definitely knew that I had watched the first one.
Hmm.
I kind of a lot of this stuff like blurred together for me, and I wasn't really sure what I hadn't seen. But upon rewatching this, I knew that I had seen it before. There were a few things that stood out to me that I had like vivid memories of like throughout this movie. So I was able to confirm that I have definitely seen this movie. Whereas before I watched it, I couldn't really remember what happened in it, and I didn't really remember if I had seen it before. But like certain things like Dobby, for example,
Yeah.
I was like, yep, I've seen this before. I was
Hard to
like, how
forget.
could one ever forget? Yeah. So basically I didn't really have like too many like preconceived notions. Like
Mhm.
I think similar to the first one, I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm not like super interested in watching these movies. Like, not a huge fan of like I mentioned in the last episode, like not a huge fan of like franchise movies. Don't really have that nostalgic element to Harry Potter that a lot of other families and people do. So yeah, wasn't super excited to watch it, but wasn't like absolutely dreading it or anything either. I was just kind of like, okay, like yeah, like let's see what this is about, and yeah, and go from there.
So now that you've watched this again, any first impressions? Kind of what stood out to you on this rewatch?
So overall, I found this movie to be much more annoying than the first one. So again, didn't hate it. I still stand by my stance from the first episode that we did, that I am a little bit like indifferent just on Harry Potter in general, and but I again, yeah, didn't hate it, but I did find this movie to be like just kind of like, I don't know, just there were more annoying characters in it to me, and I think I was just kind of like, like maybe especially because like I mentioned before with like my whole thing with like franchises and everything,
Mm.
it's like, okay, like here's a second movie of this franchise, whereas like the first one's gonna be more exciting because it's like everything's being built up and explained and shown to you for like the first time. So I think like that is always like a little bit more exciting. Now it's like, okay, like I know the characters, I know what's gonna happen. It's more just like, okay, like where is this going? What's happening? Um, Definitely like this one less than the first one. I did think that Connor, you mentioned the acting was definitely a little bit better across the board. I felt like nothing's, I think that the kids specifically stood out to me as like this was a better acting performance by them. Like you guys mentioned, like they're a couple years into their career now, as actors and actresses. So I felt like they seemed more comfortable with the role, and like the whole, I did like that the whole world did feel like a little bit more like familiar, I would say, like you know kind of what to expect, whatever. Even though that sounds contrary to what I just said. But I it was a little
There's
bit.
holes in your story here.
Yeah, let's cut this out. No, I do, I did appreciate some elements of it feeling like, okay, like we know the characters. That being said, I do kind of prefer in general like the standalone stories like I mentioned before, but yeah, I thought overall not bad, not good. Definitely I'm somewhere in the middle. This one just being slightly more annoying.
All right,
Okay, that's
more
fair.
annoying. Okay.
What'd you think when you saw the runtime when you fired this one up?
Um, oh god. I Similar to the first one, I was like, bro, there's no way that this movie could possibly be that long. Like, what is gonna happen in this? I'm like,
I was genuinely shocked. I've seen
they're
this
so
movie a bunch
long.
of times,
It's
but I was
yeah.
like, 2 hours and 45
What did you watch? Did you have a copy at home, or did you watch this like on Peacock or something?
So I watched it on HBO for a little bit
Oh,
and then on Peacock. So I hope they weren't different versions, but they are on both streamers. And
okay.
I watched them in different locations. I actually fell asleep watching it, and I never fall asleep
Hmm.
watching movies.
That
Wow.
says
Um,
something, don't you think?
no, I like it.
I swear, I like it.
It's funny you say that because I was watching, so I own them, but I've turned on Peacock because it was easier, and I also forget they're also on HBO. The Peacock version of like when we were doing Sorcerer's Stone, at least, it stood out to me that the movie there is like some added scenes in that aren't normally in the normal cut, like the one that
Mm.
was like played in theaters or like that I had on like the DVDs and Blu-rays that I've rewatched over the years, or the ones they show on TV, I think too. So it seemed the runtime seemed a little longer. So I wonder if it's like an extended cut that they put out there,
That's
because there's things
possible.
that I noticed
Yeah.
that were not there. So Val, you might have unintentionally got the longer cuts of these movies, and we've
Yeah,
just been
I'm like, what
torturing
the
you.
Can we get
heck?
the director's cut for Vale? The 3 hour, 30-minute cut
Yeah.
of the.
Can we have the Snyder cut of Harry Potter, please?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was definitely a little shocked when I realized that, because like we, for anyone listening, we listened or we watched both the first and second Harry Potter this week. So knowing that I had both of those to watch, I like it was literally over 5 hours worth of watch time, and I was like, wow. I was like, that's a lot.
All right, I'm done with the podcast. We're done.
This is the extent of it. Knowing how
Yeah.
much time I'm going to be investing in Harry Potter alone is the reason why I'm stopping.
See, this was the end game. We were playing the long game to get you to this point.
You can't quit before we do all of the MCU and all of Star Wars.
Buckle up.
We'll see about that.
So obviously the runtime surprised you. Anything else that surprised
Yeah.
you about this movie in particular?
Honestly, not really. Like I mentioned before, really just like I remembering more than I thought I was going to. That's probably what
Yeah.
surprised me the most. Like I was just kind of like, oh,
Mhm.
like I remember this scene. I remember this scene. I feel like for some reason I really remember the scenes with like the aunt and uncle, and I don't know why that stuck with me so much like as a child, and maybe it's because they were in the beginnings of the
Mhm.
movie, and like that's all I remember the beginnings more, because like as a child, like you probably don't even finish watching the movie before you go leave and play with your toys or whatever, because I mean, yeah, let's be honest, I'm 27 and I can barely sit through a 2 hour and 45 minute movie, so probably wasn't doing that when I was like 5 or 6.
Right.
So maybe it's just because I don't know but yeah, really the aunt and uncle scenes I like really remember like vivid moments from, like the cake like floating up in the air and like landing on like that woman's head. I'm like, yep, I remember that.
I feel like that scene I always catch on TV. Like when Chamber of Secrets is on, it's always that scene for some reason. So I don't know if it's just coincidence that we see that a lot, but I feel like that's always a part I catch.
Yeah.
Connor, so now that you and I have rewatched this as big Harry Potter fans, and is this being, your very favorite Harry Potter movie, thoughts, impressions on this rewatch?
I really liked the two additions, the two actor additions, and Jason Isaacs and Kenneth Branagh. I thought they were both really great in this. How much the movie goes out of its way to like change the lighting on Jason Isaacs and like just make him so evil. The cinematography when he's on screen is like, this guy sucks. Like they're giving him like, it's dark everywhere else, and he's just got the light on his eyes, and he fully is into it. They both are fully into this role, and you can tell they're having fun. They're just giving it their all, and I really liked that. Had a lot of fun with the flying car too. I thought that was done pretty well. Was that something you had remembered from a previous watch, Val?
Yes, yeah, I was gonna say I have a list of like a couple of things that I remembered. Okay. Obviously the aunt and uncle scenes, like I mentioned, but yes, the flying car I definitely remembered. That reminds me of like something that like me, you, and Grandma Helen would have like watched together and like laughed at. Like that's specifically the type of stuff that I swear we would like watch with our grandma. But yeah, I definitely remember that.
What else did I have? Anything else I had noticed? Better CGI than the first one.
Yeah.
I know I called that out in Sorcerer's Stone, that CGI was pretty rough. They did a little better job in this one.
Which
just
one had
a couple
the dog?
years.
Which one had the 3-headed dog in it? Was that?
That's the first one.
Okay,
you literally just watched this.
They're the same movie in my eyes, you guys.
Right.
I can't. Watching them back to back, and like that's tough. I will be making a lot of mistakes and getting them mixed up.
You're forgetting.
So, just
these
forewarning.
two really do blend together with the same director, same tone. The kids are young across these two. I mean, these two really do blend together, especially watching them back to back.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first Sorcerer's Stone is the 3-headed dog and the
that
troll.
Was rough.
That they both, the troll and the dog, look pretty rough CGI. This one with the snake and the spiders, I think they did a great job with the CGI on both those.
Yeah. I feel like the snake and the spiders hold up really well, especially the basilisk, because I feel like for some of the spider parts, like when Aragog first appears, he's like I think he's a physical prop.
Yeah,
And then
which
the
I always
smaller,
appreciate.
yeah, and then the
Even
smaller,
though it looks a little awkward, I always appreciate a
right.
physical prop.
Yeah, I think they do him well. His children are CGI, but that looks good. The basilisk, I feel like, unless I'm misremembering, like looks great. And this came out in 2002,
Mhm.
and that clearly has to be, CGI minus one the snake. Um, I think there's when it's on the ground, it's probably built, and then there's the one part where it pokes its head through one of the sewer grates, and it kind of
Mhm.
goes just by Harry. That looks like a physical thing, but I thought, yeah, they really did a great job, and the CGI or the special effects age well in this movie. Unless you guys feel
Yeah.
differently.
No, I
No, I
definitely think
agree.
so too.
Mm-hmm.
And they cleverly, I've noticed in both these movies, with a couple scenes with the snake, in this one when the phoenix is getting at its eyes,
Ah,
they cut away and they show a shadow shot of the
yes.
action. Big money saver there. And then
Mm-hmm.
in Sorcerer's Stone, in like the opening scene when Professor McGonagall transforms from a cat into the woman, they don't show that on
Yep.
screen. That's done in a
It's a
shadow. So
smart
it's like,
move.
Yeah.
smart
Very
move. That's good directing right
Mhm.
there. Like, hey, we
Yeah.
have a budget and we're gonna keep it within
Mhm.
that budget.
Yeah. And with the part like you mentioned with the phoenix clawing out the eyes of the basilisk, if this movie was done differently, it could probably be low-key a little scary or a little
Mhm.
intense for younger audiences. Like it you had the PG rating, but there's a giant snake, people get frozen, the basilisk gets his eyes like, gauged out. There is the cat hanging that gets petrified and it's hanging
Yeah.
from the torch at one point. There's
Blood written on the
blood written on the
wall.
wall. Like, if this is done a little differently, this could be a lot scarier. So they had a really delicate line to walk to still make this like kid and family friendly and palatable in a
Mhm.
way.
And I think that's why I liked it when I was younger, because it did have that, this one's less of a kids movie than the first one. This one we
Yeah.
we
You're like
cranked it
6
up a
still.
notch.
I'm
Yeah.
grown up. Yeah.
Yeah. With just slightly scarier and
Right.
slightly more adult themes through
Mhm.
it. Like they have the kids are fighting and stuff. It's not just like they're bickering and calling each other names, which also is happening in this movie. But
Mhm.
we get a Harry Potter and Draco duel, and
Yep.
they definitely cranked it up a notch in this one.
For sure. I know you guys kind of touched upon the additions of some of the new actors in this movie. Connor kind of walked us a little bit about the shots with Lucius Malfoy, kind of the casting of Gilderoy Lockhart. A question I did have for Val. So in this movie, we see the introduction of a lot of new, cast and crew. In the first, they introduced a ton of people, and in this one, obviously, they expand upon that. So in here, we see, Malfoy Senior. We meet Dobby the house elf, Moaning Myrtle, Arthur Weasley, Ginny and Mrs. Weasley get expanded roles versus a quick little
Mhm.
cameo at platform 9 3/4 in the first one. Lockhart shows up. You get, kind of memory Tom Marvolo Riddle, aka, young Lord Voldemort, and you get people like Colin Creevey and Cornelius Fudge. So you get all these people that are, more featured in the books that expand this world more. With these new characters, any thoughts on these new people, Val? Any ones you liked, you didn't like?
Well, funny you should bring up Moaning Myrtle because I was viscerally angry
Mhm.
anytime that she was on screen. The way that she talks, the way that she looks, get out of my face. That's something that I actually did hate. Like I was like I get what they were trying to go for. I really do, but
Mhm.
I was like, oh my god. I was like, it was exhausting anytime she was on screen. I'm just like, I
Mhm.
can't with that voice. It was so annoying.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, that actress is much older than the children.
Yes, there's
Like she was
like
in her 30s or
she
40s
was like,
playing.
yeah,
What?
that trivia was floating around the internet a while back. She was like 39 or 40 years old when they filmed that. And she's supposed to be like a 15, 16-year old, let's
Yeah,
say.
what
Mhm.
the heck?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why something felt uncanny because
Yeah.
she was not actually a kid at all. Yeah,
Mhm.
I
And
did. I
meant to be
really didn't
annoying,
like.
I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, she of course she was supposed to be annoying, but it was like so. It was like stop,
She
get
did
off
too
the
good of a
screen.
job.
She did do too good of a job. I was like, bye. That was very annoying. I was like, I don't care what the story is. I can't listen to you. Yeah, she was annoying. I have like mixed feelings on Dobby where I'm like he's like funny and like kind of goofy. Obviously, he's extremely annoying. I'm like yeah. I have mixed feelings. That Dobby is one piece of the movie that I like very much remember from my
Mhm.
Yeah.
childhood. Like I feel like I feel like especially when you're little, like that's the type of thing that would stick out. It's like
Sure.
a little house elf who has a funny voice and is running around like doing random stuff.
Mhm.
I was like felt so frustrated for Harry when Dobby was like
Oh,
being so loud and obnoxious up in the bedroom when his
yeah.
aunt and uncle had those people over. I was like, oh my god, I want to kill Dobby for you. I felt so bad for
Yeah.
Harry. Harry's just like, please. He's like, shut up. So that I thought that scene was funny.
Mhm.
Yeah, I Jason Isaacs is cool. I thought that was good. Yeah, don't really have like a ton of other opinions on like the other editions,
Yeah.
but I thought it was good. They
Mhm.
continued to kind of elaborate on this whole world and bringing in new characters like you said from the book. So I thought that it all made sense and kind of came together nicely.
Mhm.
Yeah. And a lot of those new additions are characters that we will see in future movies. That
Yeah, that makes
I think
sense.
Kenneth Branagh was the only one-off
Yep.
in this one. I don't believe we see him again, but Jason Isaacs comes back as Malfoy's father, and Cornelius Fudge becomes a bigger player in future
Mhm.
movies. Same with the Weasleys. Which, speaking of the Weasleys, I had so much fun at the Weasleys' house in the beginning
Yes.
of this movie.
Hmm.
They're so funny, and
They are.
I really like spending time with their family. That was a great addition in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. They have a cool like family dynamic.
for
Also,
sure.
it's like I know that they rescued him whatever from like his house with his aunt and uncle, but like it's crazy that like he even went back to his aunt and uncle's house. Like regardless of if like you're wizards or not, like that they were like abusive
Yep.
Yeah.
family. And so like it's kind of shocking
He got a
that
bedroom though. He got Dudley's second
yeah,
bedroom.
He
true. But
upgraded
like
from the
they
cupboard.
yeah, I was almost like surprised to see them again. Like I did not expect to see them again in the whole entire series. Like I thought when he left their house in the beginning of the first episode, I thought that that was it for them.
Mhm.
Until I like started watching, and then I remembered some things that like I had seen before, but I was thinking like, why would he have to go back there, especially with like how the people at Hogwarts like respect and care for Harry. Like I didn't think that he would have had to go back there. So it was nice that that Ron and his family kind of took Harry in and got him out of that situation because yeah, that was very surprising that he went back.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert, he goes back again.
Oh, does he really?
And again.
Oh
And
my god,
again.
does he go back every movie?
It was always a head scratcher.
Almost.
Well, because he has to
Yeah,
go.
like-
He has to return somewhere for a summer holiday. No one stays
Yeah,
over the
but wouldn't
summer.
he go? But wouldn't he go to back to Ron's house for all of those things? Like
We got 4 kids in one bedroom over there.
fair.
I mean, great question that I feel like everyone has always asked. And as when I was watching and reading these as a kid, I'm like, why does he have to keep going back to his
Right.
relatives?
Like it's
They
an
are so
abusive
bad.
household.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dumbledore and company are like, all right, good luck. See you in 3 months. Enjoy your
Yeah,
holiday.
Glad you had fun
exactly.
being the chosen one for a semester.
Yeah.
Go
Seriously.
get abused.
Right.
Yeah, it's like they just take out all their anger on him. Like they think he's a freak, a weirdo. They neglect him, and then it's like he can go literally. He can go like practice his magic and like be with his friends and like save the world at Hogwarts, and then he literally just
Yeah.
goes back to this like shitty ass life afterwards. I'm always like, why is he
Just
going
getting
back?
threatened and
Yeah.
not fed.
Literally.
No, Harry is literally like never off the clock when it comes to like surviving life. He's just
No.
always he's saving the world. He's surviving his
Yeah.
abusive, neglectful relatives.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rough time.
Yeah,
for
poor
him.
thing.
Yeah. So kind of gathered all of our impressions on this rewatch. I know we usually then dive into, the namesake of the episode. What did Val hate? So what did you hate about this movie, Val? I know you might have touched upon some stuff, but have at it.
Yeah, the only thing I really hated was Moaning Myrtle, which I don't need to elaborate on anymore because what else is there to say? She sucks.
True.
And she's annoying. Yeah, I really didn't I didn't hate anything in this one either. It's similar to the first one. Like I didn't love it, but didn't hate it. I just thought Moaning Myrtle was very annoying. And yeah, I don't have many hateful thoughts there. So sorry to disappoint.
Light day in the hate department for you.
Yeah.
I have something to add in the category of hate.
Oh, let's hear it.
Okay.
When McGonagall sends Harry up to Dumbledore's office, and the spell she gives to make the staircase appear is Sherbet Lemon.
Yeah.
And that, since I was a kid, has always pissed me off. There's some of the spells are like they're written in such a way that like if a kid can pull like the Latin root or like make the comparison, they like feel clever. And some of those things have always driven me nuts.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Not even a spell, but like the Dursleys live on Privet Drive, just like
Private.
private drive, and Diagon Alley was even a joke in this one where they're like, "Oh, did he say diagonally?"
Yeah.
And like, there's so many things that are like so on the nose to an actual word, but they're just like changing the inflection or a
Hmm.
letter or not even changing anything in the sherbet lemon case. That's one thing about Harry Potter that has always rubbed me the wrong way is like,
That's
if you're
funny.
gonna commit to making up a language, do that. Have it all
Right.
be really weird and out there, and kids would understand it based on what happens. But by
Mhm.
giving it words that are just so close to other words, just as a little wink or something, I that's always driven me crazy.
Yeah, it's maybe a good thing you didn't finish the book series because this is all J.K. Rowling's doing. They don't
Mhm.
deviate from the spells at least like at all. I feel like when I was younger, I obviously love this world, love deep diving into everything. I remember going back and rereading some of the books and going back and rewatching the movies that were out at the time. And I was like, I think 10 when I did this. And I tried to start a master list of all the spells that were included
I
in
feel
the
like I
books,
remember
the
you
movie.
showing me
Yeah.
this.
And I was serious about Harry Potter. And I think like they used most of the spells in the movies were pulled from the books, minus like one or two. And I think one might happen in the third movie. It was very rare cases, but like 99% of the time, if you're unhappy with like how these spell names are oriented or created, it was literally J.K. Rowling did this. And people have kind of picked apart all this over the years with, okay, you literally just took a word, slightly modified it, and then you created a
Yeah.
spell. Like I know Protego ends up being a spell, and it's like a protection spell. Protego,
Hmm.
protect. Wingardium Leviosa.
Lumos
Yeah, Lumos
is
for
light.
light. You have like Wingardium Leviosa, it levitates like Leviosa. Okay, there's some similarities there, and we'll get more into some pretty egregious character names as we go forward that
Yeah.
haven't been introduced. That I can't wait for Val's reaction to that. But this is unfortunately it's classic J.K. Rowling for some how these things are named.
Hmm. The banker goblins and
Yeah, there's some stereotypes. We'll dive into those eventually. Not great.
But speaking of the stereotypes, they did introduce into this one a little bit of wizard supremacy,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
with the Slytherins and the Malfoys, and the introduction of, I believe, Mudblood was a new word for this movie. I don't think that was covered in the first one,
Right.
but they're just kind of like bringing in the slurs and the pure blood and all that kind of stuff. And it was an interesting way of handling that kind of supremacy in a children's movie.
True.
And
That's a
I
good
don't think
point.
it was done poorly. It was just interesting to see how on the nose a lot of that was.
Good
Right.
lesson to teach young kids and with a
Yeah.
metaphor.
Yeah, the clearly evil character is the one that respects pure blood.
Yeah.
And I do cast off to the storytellers that they did so using pre-existing characters. They didn't really have to fully, introduce like new people or anything. I know Lucius Malfoy was new, but we already knew of Draco Malfoy and a little bit
Mhm.
about him. You already had the Weasleys, so I thought it was pretty clever using those pre-existing kind of characters and families to introduce these themes that you're talking about.
Mhm.
So I know we covered some stuff you guys hate. Kind of flipping that on, in reverse. Any favorite performances from this movie, Val?
Mm.
You don't have to have any favorites. That's okay.
Not really. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Honestly, not really. I like I said earlier, the acting I think was a little bit better, especially among the three main kids.
Hmm.
So I thought that like they're all kind of like coming into their own a little bit and more comfortable, confident in their roles. Yeah. I nothing major.
Okay. I did want to just touch on the Slytherin and just how I probably should have brought this up more with Sorcerer's Stone, but some of the same characters appear in this one, and how a quarter of the school supposedly are just like the evil kids, and like
Right.
they have fucked up teeth, and they're just like gross and ugly and evil and like sneering and rude, and it's just like, well, we're Slytherin, that's how we are. And then like we really only spend time with, at least in this point in the movies, we're only spending time with Gryffindor and Slytherin, where it's just Gryffindor are these like honorable kids and they're good and striving for good, and the Slytherins are just like dumb and evil, and that's like really just their identity. And I think the Quidditch team is just like, it's so right there. There's the two of them have like crazy teeth,
Those
and they're
gnarly
just
teeth.
like,
They
always.
are in Great Britain, aren't they?
Yeah, but none of the Gryffindors have bad teeth.
Fair,
True.
fair.
I know you kind of open up discussion a little bit into some new themes, characters, some additional world building. Kind of the Gryffindors as the good guys, the Slytherins as maybe the bad guys. In regards to world building, film one set up so much, film two starting to add more. In this one, we get a lot of new characters, and we also get the Ministry of Magic kind of as an entity. I feel like is really touched upon for the first time. It probably was maybe briefly mentioned in the first book, but there was no need to mention that in the movie. So you get the wizard government essentially in Great Britain. You get Azkaban, the first mention of the famous like high security wizard prison. You hear of the Chamber of Secrets. We're diving into Hagrid's past a little bit. You have dueling. You have the founders of Hogwarts.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on kind of some of this additional lore that we're getting, Val?
I think it's like a really effective in terms of like storytelling for the whole series. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like they so far in the first two movies, I feel like the pacing of introducing all of these things has been really good. I think that they really like within these two movies, like they really have introduced a lot of stuff, but it didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel like too much. Like it's easy to wrap your head around, to understand, and you really get like a feel for the entire world like very quickly. Especially because these are two out of what did you say, like eight movies?
Eight
Yeah.
movies.
So it's like, yeah, I think you really have, they're slowly but surely like introducing all these components in a smooth way, and I think the pacing makes sense. So I thought it was good and effective.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Connor? Any thoughts?
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah. So in this
Oh, the world
film,
building. I'm
yes.
sorry. I love the new additions in this. Like I said in the previous episode, I love the classes. Um, Snape being introduced as the assistant in the Defense Against the Dark Arts class, and clearly being the competent one to
Mm-hmm.
teach that class was hilarious, because we had a little throwaway line in the first movie where they're like, "Oh, he's the potions professor, but he's always wanted that job,"
Yep.
and we're still unraveling all this, and like a lot of fantasy stories, specifically Harry Potter, Star Wars, and Game of Thrones. Each of those three stories are taking place about 20 years after these grand events have taken place. And through the story that we're watching, we're getting nuggets of information about what happened previously. I guess it wouldn't be 20 years in the case of Harry Potter, but in Star Wars, we're following Luke in the aftermath of what happened with his father Anakin, and in Game of Thrones, I mean, it's taking place that 20 years after Robert's rebellion, and in Harry Potter, we're still kind of unraveling that mystery of what had happened, that led to Voldemort killing Harry's parents. And clearly, Lucius, based on his comments at the end of the movie, he has some sort of involvement. Your parents were meddling too, and they got their sticky end, which I thought was a weird way of being like, I was involved in the killing of your parents. Like, it's like their sticky end. But interesting, this, the story that took place before the story is slowly being revealed to us, and that's something that's going to keep coming up in future movies.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. And like we've kind of mentioned how these two movies are kind of a pair just with the creative team, but also in kind of how the story's set up. I feel like both are okay. You go to school, you do your classes, some things happen at school, and
Mhm.
then you end up in some secret dungeon in the school, getting the Sorcerer's Stone, or you're going down to save Ginny Weasley and fight the Basilisk in the Chamber of Secrets. And like you're
Mhm.
saying, we're laying the groundwork and these nuggets of like greater world building that are, as me and are going to be pulled in later, where Val's yet to fully experience this. But you're doing a lot of the legwork now, and then you're going to really start to expand in the next like two, especially, and from there on.
Yeah. So Val, do we have any theories of what's to be coming next in our next couple of Harry Potter movies?
Nope. Gotta be honest, I didn't think about it.
Val tries to not think too much or too hard about Harry Potter.
Yeah, when the second movie was over, I was like, kind of thank God. I was like,
It was long.
like I
Mhm.
was like, this is long. I was like, yeah, I'm not thinking about theories. So
Mhm.
no, but I will think of some.
This
TBD.
is the last of the Christopher Columbus, more child-oriented pairing of movies. So going on 3 and 4, we feel a real tonal shift into where the rest of the story is going. This is,
Okay.
Yeah.
even though this one's a little more serious than the first, these still are both, little kids going to school,
Mm-hmm.
going on their adventures where, things get a little darker and a little more serious as we go forward. And I'm wondering if you're going to respond better to these more serious themes, a little higher of stakes, or if it's going to land a little flat.
We'll know soon enough.
We will. You're right. Any random facts that have stuck with you, Connor, about this movie? I know me and you always kind of throw in a bunch of facts. Got anything for the
Mhm.
Chamber of Secrets?
So I'm hoping you can clarify for me because I'm sure that but I believe I remember hearing or reading Jason Isaacs showed up in that wig. That was a him choice as well as the cape. Those were both him choices. He was not told to.
I feel like I saw that.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
He kind of took it upon himself to show up in character one day
Mm-hmm.
with the cape and the cane and the long straight bleached blonde
Yeah.
hair and
Yeah.
just kind of made that part of his
Mhm.
character, where I don't think that was given to him by wardrobe. He kind of or like pulled it off the shelf of wardrobe and took the wig and kind of set himself up with that look, which has just become so iconic. I couldn't imagine him with like a short haircut like Draco or just like
Right.
wearing a suit, which I think was the original wardrobe for
Mm-hmm.
him.
That
I
sounds
just
very
Googled
familiar.
it, and he did improvise his
Yes.
look by appearing in a tinfoil wig and a velvet curtain to represent a cape. And Chris Columbus realized, or he was trying to prove to the director Chris Columbus that the character needed to look a little bit like richer, more like
Mhm.
aristocratic wizard.
Hmm.
So
Good
The
touch.
type of wizard who thinks he's better than all the other wizards.
Right. But really
very
just a
true.
slime ball at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Anything else, Connor?
Not that I could recall,
Mhm.
no.
I had a couple quick trivia facts for me. So you mentioned Jason Isaacs. He also did the voice of the Basilisk, which I thought was pretty cool.
Mm,
Now that you think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I could see it. Does a great
yeah,
job with that. The voice of Dobby the house elf was done by actor Toby Jones,
I did see that.
which I didn't know that
Who's Toby
until
Jones?
I'm trying to think of what you know him from. He
I'm
plays a
looking it up.
character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I know you would
Yeah.
not care about. The hell, you'll probably
Oh,
remember.
I know
Clone.
this. I
Yeah.
know this guy.
Yep. I didn't know it was him until like a few years ago. Like I went so long without knowing that.
Mhm.
Interesting.
And some other casting, little tidbits. Chris Columbus's daughter played the Hufflepuff student Susan Bones.
Hmm.
She popped in there. And then when it came to some casting, Alan Cumming and Rupert Everett were also considered for Professor Lockhart. Cumming backed out over a salary dispute, and Jason Isaacs also auditioned for Lockhart, but was offered the role of Lucius Malfoy instead. And at first he was reluctant to take this role because he had already signed on at the time to play Captain Hook in Peter Pan in 2003. But apparently his family convinced him to take this role, and then he accepted it. So a lot of convincing done by a lot of people to get people to be in
Yeah.
these movies. You have them, you have Richard Harris as Dumbledore, the producers, talking Daniel Radcliffe's parents into getting him in the movie. And then also before the actor who ended up playing Tom Riddle was cast in that role, James McAvoy and Eddie Redmayne were also pegged. You're also up for the role of Tom Marvolo Riddle,
Well,
which I had no idea. And then I thought it was actually funny too because Eddie Redmayne goes on years later to play Newt Scamander in the Fantastic Beasts films, a spinoff of
okay.
Harry Potter. But yeah, and then the very last one, which I know Connor will at least appreciate. So the actor who played Lee Jordan, very minor. He is the Gryffindor student who does the announcing of the Quidditch games. Gryffindor wins, 10 points for Gryffindor, all that kind of stuff. That's the only thing he really does in his movies. In the book, I think he pops up a little bit more. He's like a friend of the Weasley twins. He's like a year above them, Harry and the gang, in like grade wise. So about 10 years ago, I remember binging the show Community after I finished undergrad. All this time on my hands, I heard about the show, let me binge it. I'm going deep diving the cast. I'm like, this, Luke Youngblood pops up, and I click on him, and it takes me to his Wikipedia page, and it's Lee Jordan. Lee Jordan's actor, Luke Youngblood, played the character Magnitude in Community. He goes, pop,
Oh,
pop, and that's his only line. That's
damn.
Magnitude. He's just randomly in Community with one line as some random ass.
Like
Now it's
15
not
years later.
Yeah.
it's not one line in one episode. It's that line
Oh,
multiple times
yeah.
in multiple
In
episodes.
In
That is
multiple
all that
seasons.
character says. Pop, pop.
Yeah. It's honestly insane to me that Community and Harry Potter have like a through line. Like there's a connection.
Yeah.
Any questions for Val, Connor, that we haven't asked yet?
What did you think of the unfolding of another layer of this Voldemort? Because we've
Mm-hmm.
only seen him weirdly attached to the back of the head of one professor, and now
Yeah,
we've
that was
seen
weird.
him in the 16-year-old version of him that lived in the diary and was kind of haunting Ginny. How did you feel about this next confrontation between a version of Voldemort and Harry?
I liked it. I felt like it was like a good natural way to like introduce more background without actually showing the real like Voldemort yet. Like it creates like mystery, but it also it helps move the story along because I feel like they had to give us something, you know what I mean? You can't just like keep waiting to introduce the present day Voldemort, you know what I mean? So I feel like I liked the like kind of like flashback instances. Like I think that flashbacks are always to me an effective way to tell a story.
Right.
I like them. I think that it makes the most sense. So yeah, I liked it. I thought it added like you said, another layer to the story, but keeping it going because obviously knowing that there's a lot of books and a lot of movies to come, so we don't want to give away too much in the beginning. And there seems to be a lot of history with Voldemort, so it's like slowly but surely like giving like little nuggets of information here and there, so like the not only the characters can figure things out and put the puzzle pieces together, but like you as the viewer watching can kind of like be like, oh okay, like I did think that was like good storytelling. I liked it.
Nice. I just texted the both of you a meme that I came across that has always made me laugh from this movie. I'll attach it into the video so people watching can see, but I wanted just to see if you've ever seen this one before, Val.
No, I haven't. That's funny.
Classic.
I was wondering why you were texting us during the pod.
Andy Fire. I remember seeing this one a while ago, and this makes me laugh so hard. Just him gave the diary to Ginny, and then it's like 2 seconds into him communicating through it. My name's Harry Potter. It's like, oh shit!
It's like jackpot.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned young Voldemort, the flashback sequences used via the diary, which, very effective storytelling device, especially for
Hmm.
Harry, who's brand new to this world. He's 1 to 2 years
Hmm.
into it, doesn't know anything about the past. So I feel like great ways to not only inform the reader, but inform that character, but kind of about what came before. Also, the storytelling device was used by Voldemort to try to manipulate Harry, ultimately unsuccessfully. But in that sequence, though, we get some, an edited version of Hagrid's past. So I know Connor, Hagrid fan, Val watching this movie. Any thoughts from you guys about kind of maybe the little bit we learned from Hagrid, or any questions you might have going forward, at least for Val?
I'm so glad you asked this because I was about to ask Val as well. Did you think Hagrid was responsible when we first saw that?
I mean, kind of at first. I mean, that's like that's what the movie is telling you,
Yeah.
and like I don't have any reason to not believe the movie. So yeah, at first I was like, oh, that's weird, because like I in my head I always like, thought that Hagrid was like a very good, kind-hearted person, didn't think he had anything like wrong with him. So like then when
Hmm.
they revealed that that was like kind of BS, it made sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, at first I was like kind of confused because I was like, really? I was like, I didn't think he was like that type of character.
Hmm. Me, a true fan of Hagrid, a Hagrid believer, it didn't sway me for a second. I did also find it strange that Hagrid told Harry and Ron to follow the spiders, and then the spiders tried to eat them.
Not great advice from Hagrid.
Yeah. I loved though that Hagrid obviously knew that the two of them were there, but I also loved Dumbledore communicating with them,
Mm,
just kind of looking at them even though they were invisible. I
yeah.
Dumbledore was just great in this. And one of the very few notes I wrote down from this movie was I feel like a lot of these issues in Chamber of Secrets could have been solved early if Harry just like sat down with Dumbledore and talked to him for like 10 minutes and was just honest about everything. So I'm hearing voices, kill, kill, blood. I recently found out I can talk to snakes. Maybe that's connected.
But then we
Students
wouldn't
keep
have
getting
8
frozen.
movies, though, Connor.
True.
Well, there would always be 8. This one just could have been a little shorter.
Anything we didn't touch upon, Val, that you want to bring up, make note of, anything?
Actually, there is one thing, and I feel like it probably is more applicable to the first movie because that's when they like showed it for the first time, but like just something about Hogwarts is it doesn't make sense to me that the staircases move. Like I know that it adds to like the whimsical like nature of the place, but it's like why would they put the students like in a position like that? I don't understand. Like did they say why the staircases move? And like did they was it like some curse that no one can break? Because you'd think with a bunch of wizards like they'd be able to like not have these children have like a terrible risk. Like I just don't understand
Dangerous
why.
spot to sleepwalk.
Yeah.
Right, and also just like makes it's so much more complicated for these new 11-year-olds who just got here for the first time. It's like why would that be an added element? Like they're already new here, now they can't get to their room. Like I just feel when I saw that I was like why? Like why? I get that it adds to the like ambiance of the whole
Mhm.
place and like oh like it's so whimsy. It's like, but no, I was like what?
I don't think there's any explicit purpose to it. I think, like you said, it's just J.K. Rowling's probably like, oh, magic.
Yeah.
It's this world is crazy and different and magical, and the staircases move, and that's it. Don't question it. So,
Yeah, I
I
was
was also
thinking
curious.
yeah, I was like thinking about it because I'm like, as a child and honestly an adult who gets lost easily, like I'm just have issues with getting places with like directionally. Like I was like, wow, I would get lost instantly. It's like I'm about to go into my room and then literally the staircase. I'm like I'm in a whole other part of the building. I'm like, yeah, no. I was like, that would not
Mhm.
fly. I would be like, I'm actually out of here.
You were
The
not
high
built for
school
Hogwarts.
we all went to was a big square, and I would often go the wrong way and be late
Oh,
for class.
same. I think we get that from grandma.
I think we definitely do.
Because
Connor
my
would
mom and dad
definitely.
know where they're going all the time, and me and
Yeah.
Connor
Yeah.
never know where
Damaged sense of
we're going.
direction.
Connor would have gotten expelled from Hogwarts just for never attending class because he could never get there.
Yeah, he just got lost on his way there. He
Accurate.
tried.
I would have given up at a certain point. Hung out in that common room a little long.
So I have one more question for you, Val. This could be really asked at any point during this rewatch, and I'll probably ask it again. For any Harry Potter fan or any big Harry Potter fan, they like to pick which Hogwarts house they'd want to be in, which one they think they'd be a part of. There's an official quiz on the Pottermore website that you can go take. It's kind of like the definitive, like, oh, this tells you what house you're in. I'll make you take it at some point. We'll start with you, Connor. Did you ever think about what house you wanted to be in or that you would be in? And then we'll jump to Val after, see if you have any thoughts.
Gryffindor, Seeker on the Quidditch team.
Naturally. Coolest
I don't
kid in school.
understand. I don't understand how you would be able to determine when we know so little about the other two houses, though.
That's very fair.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Do they tell you? Do they give you more information about the other two houses? Because I'm gonna say Gryffindor because the alternative is Slytherin that we know about
Are
at
you
this
evil
point.
or are you good?
Yeah, exactly. So
Fair
Gryffindor. I'll take Gryffindor.
Yeah.
But do they give you more information about the other houses? I know that it's just like a fun fandom thing, but it's
Right.
like how would I know? You know what I mean?
Yeah, in the books definitely.
Okay.
The movies later on they do a little bit about Ravenclaw, like way later on, because it pertains to the story in some regard. So we'll cross the bridge when we get there. I don't actually think they say really anything about Hufflepuff in the movies. I don't know if you can remember, Connor, but I feel like
I'm gonna do a quick Google search of the main attributes of.
It'll come up.
Each. I was gonna say.
Yeah, there's set stuff. There's good stuff there.
I think we all should take the quiz after we hop off recording, and we can tag in what we are.
I always thought that I always wanted to be Gryffindor because I want to be the hero. I want to be Harry. I remember I think I took some quiz. I don't know if it was the official one, but I took some a long time ago. It was Gryffindor. I was like, cool. And then I remember right pre-pandemic at the job I was working at, my boss was a big Harry Potter fan. So she sent out one day to everyone, hey, take the Pottermore quiz. Let's see what we are. Actually, it might not even been Pottermore. I think it was something else. And it said I was Hufflepuff. And I was like, devastated. I was like, fuck, no one wants to be Hufflepuff.
I was going to joke you're a Hufflepuff.
No, but I was like, God damn it.
Low-key you might be, though. Hufflepuff is loyalty, patience, and fair work. So I can kind of see that.
But I think that was like a BuzzFeed one I took or whatever. And then I go to England for this week-long trip. I go to King's Cross Station that they go to for platform 9 3/4 in the movie. They have like a whole photo op set up, and then you can pick which colored scarf you want. So I pick Hufflepuff. I got some Hufflepuff because me being a millennial, of course I ride or die with this bullshit. And so I do the Hufflepuff scarf. I have the nice photo, and then like a few months later, I'm getting back into like rewatching Harry Potter. I go take the Pottermore quiz, and which is like what they say is the one you should do, the official one, because Pottermore was set up by J.K. Rowling herself. It says I'm a Gryffindor. And then when I've read through the stuff, talked to people that are big fans, they're like, I think that is most accurate. So then I'm like, shit, I have this picture at King's Cross Station with a Hufflepuff scarf, and I could have had the iconic Gryffindor and whatever. It's a long story, doesn't matter. I think my house currently is Gryffindor. So Connor, so I know you mentioned Gryffindor. I feel like that's what you'd want to be in.
Probably what I would want to be in.
Yeah. What about you, Val? Now that you kind of have some info in front of you to kind of go off of.
I don't know. I feel like I'm all of I'm honestly low key. No, just kidding. I'm out of all of these. I'm all of the good traits and I'm none of the bad traits. So
you're just the best human being ever.
No,
all right, we're gonna have to put it to the test. Then.
I'm gonna take the quiz. I'm going to make sure that my answers align with Gryffindor. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to cheat.
Yeah, no, I will take the quiz and then I will report back.
We'll reveal it on the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yes.
And socials.
Yeah, we'll reveal it.
Perfect. The people are going to want to know, Val.
I'm low-key feeling like Ravenclaw though, but we'll see if I'm right.
I could see it.
We'll see.
I could see it. Ravenclaw was always kind of the cool savvy pick. You're like, oh, of course everyone would say they're a Gryffindor, but no, I'm actually Ravenclaw. I think Ravenclaws are supposed to be like cunning and stuff like that, maybe.
It says intelligence, wisdom, creativity, they're curious, analytical, individuality.
Doesn't sound like Val at all.
Yeah, I'm like, actually, like maybe I'm none of those things.
Spoken like a true Hufflepuff.
Yeah, right, I'll take the quiz. We'll report back
and find out. Cool. All right. If there's any other lingering questions, Connor, before we jump into Val's popcorn bucket rating.
I do not.
All right, Val. On a scale of 0 to 5 popcorn buckets, how many does this movie get?
I give this movie 2.5 popcorn buckets.
All right.
Not half bad. I
We're
mean,
going down a notch.
yeah.
Just a notch.
Yeah. Still, though, it's honestly better than what I expected at first, so I'm happy with it.
We'll take it.
All right. Well, that has been our second official Val's a Hater podcast episode, and stay tuned for more as we finish or we continue to work through the rest of the Harry Potter series going forward. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Popcorn in the Face. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you're following us on Instagram at Popcorn in the Face Pod for episode updates, behind the scenes content, and all of our movie opinions. New episodes will be available on Wednesdays on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, so be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss one. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.